There's that split line down the middle.
I guess I have Apple everything: iPhone, iPad, MacBook, Mac desktop, everything Mac. And there's like hardly,
Yeah, that's what.
other than updating it, which is always a disaster when you update the system. Oh, good. Maya's here. We're all here then. That's good. Let her in. Other than updating the system, it always works out well. They just
Yeah, I think that's what usually happens is you start to get a collection of the brands that you enjoy using. At this point, if I were to switch to a Mac, it seems like I would have to revamp like everything that I do.
You really
'cause everything
don't.
is hooked up to Google.
You really don't.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, everything is flawless, and like I honestly don't use the Apple programs. I don't use Windows, but I use Microsoft, so Word and all. You get that. They make that for the
Right.
Mac, so they have good. Their programs are good, but it's not compatible with the rest of the world. Like I always have people turn in pages for assignments, and it can't be opened up on a PC. So I use Word, Microsoft for everything. But I like the
Yeah.
Mac itself. And if you have
Yeah, pretty
Windows,
easy, user friendly.
yeah, Windows 10 or Windows 11. Do they have Windows 11 now?
I think 10. I think
Yeah.
10 was
If you have
it,
Windows
and then
10,
they were going to continue updating.
yeah, Windows 10 is just like the Mac.
Okay.
All right, guys, so let me get started here. I sent out an announcement because I don't know who tried to do it. If you didn't do well on quiz number 2, if you've taken it already and didn't do well, you can take it again. Nothing will be harmed. The highest score will count. I opened it up. It's due on Thursday, so you should be able to access it. I also took away the prerequisites of having to do the practice test ahead of time. So if you haven't done quiz number 2, go ahead and do it. If you've done it and you scored okay, take it again, you might score better. If you failed the first time, you can take the retake. If you fail the 2 attempts, you can also do the retake, but don't take a 0 on that because that would, there's a points kind of out the window. So we are at the point now. I did upload a video yesterday. I had some people that were having difficulties with figuring out Screencast-O-Matic, so I made a video for her and then decided I'll just post it for all my online classes, for all the 102 classes, since everybody has to do it. It works just fine. I practiced it on the Mac. So if you do have technical issues, what I would suggest is then go to, and I'll show it to you. Go to the Virtual Support Center. And then when you get into the Virtual Support Center, there is a technology support for live support. So you can get someone to actually walk you through and help you with it. All right. So there's no excuse of why one couldn't be able to use this. They will be able to help you. I'm limited with what I can do, but they can do things like they can take over your computer and do it for you and show you. Okay. So it shouldn't be an issue, but if for some reason you are trying and the video didn't help, then go to the Virtual Support Center. The Virtual Support Center is also great because that's where the writing lab is, and the math lab is here, the advising if you're signing up for classes, library, etc. You can get a tutor, and there's some other things as well, financial aid, etc. All of you are going to pass, all of you are going to finish, so you don't need to contact financial aid to ask what happens if you withdraw. If you withdraw at this point, I'll be very, very upset with you. So that won't happen. So I just want to take some time to do this in class. That way I hold everybody responsible. So when they're doing their presentations, I can kind of grade everybody the same way. I did put a lot of this information on your outlines, but I just want to kind of have it said now. So remember, in your presentation has to be 5 to 7 minutes long. You don't want to go under for sure, and you don't want to go over. All right, 5 to 7 minutes. So you don't need to say everything that you covered in your paper, just like the basic points. Do you need a visual? I looked at your visuals, and I think I approved everybody's visuals. The fewer words you have on the visual, the better, because you don't want your audience to have to like read long paragraphs. So I've seen some visuals, not from this class, but from others that had like they wrote the whole introduction out. You know, the purpose is not to have an audience have to read a big slide. And what's worse is when you have the slide up there and the person presenting is reading the whole slide. All right, that's not a very nice experience. So the fewer words you have on it, the better. Watch your images. If you do use images, you do need to cite them properly. Please then go to Google and say how to cite Google Images in APA 7, and that'll give you. Don't just slap on the URL because that's not the citation. Just like you wouldn't put that on the reference page, you do need to have a proper citation. All right. So in your introduction, again, please begin with some kind of attention getter. Let's grab the audience's attention and get them to start thinking a little bit about the topic, okay? It doesn't have to be long, but you should have an attention getter before you actually get into some of the background information. After your attention getter, please make sure you introduce yourself. Good morning, everybody. I am Mark Cook, and today I'm going to be addressing the issue that I raised up in my attention getter. Why should schools be year-round? Okay. After you introduce yourself, you can give a little background. You don't have to say why you were interested in it, like that's not important. But just tell us a little bit about the topic. Why is this an important topic? So today schools are trying to figure out how to do a year-round schedule. You know, this debate has gone on now for some time, and there's research, lots of research that says that year-round schools are a benefit. However, I'm going to kind of show you that the research points also that it's detrimental to one's education. At the end of your background information, and this is where, like I wrote this on most of your outlines, you need to have a preview statement. Now, what you want to do for the preview statement is, let's say you have 3 bullet points, 3 main points. You might have 4, you might have more, you might have less. Let's just say 3 of your bullet points. Then what you want to do is you want to give the audience a signal so that they kind of can organize your presentation in their heads, okay? And by doing this, you say this: I've divided my presentation up into 3 parts. If it's 4, then you say 4. So that's why I have the 3 underlined. I divided my presentation up into 3 parts. First, I'm going to tell you about, and then say whatever that first bullet point is. After that, I will say what the second bullet point is. Lastly, I would like to, and then say what your third point is. All right, so these are, because we're not looking at your paper and we might not have everything on the PowerPoint, you might have a some kind of slide that has those 3 points on it. But you want to do this in a presentation way as well. One, you're adding time to it by putting in the previous statement, but you're talking to people. And so what you're doing is you're trying to say, hey guys, look, I divided it into 3 parts. That way they can go in their head for each of the parts, and then you name the parts. So they've heard it once, so when you move on to the parts, then they've heard it. Now, oops. You want to build in some transitions. So when you want to end, after you have your preview statement, you want to move to the first part. So I would put in a transition that says something like this. This now brings me to my first point, and then state again what you just said in the beginning. So whatever you said at number 1, you're going to repeat it here again. You're emphasizing it for the person so they know they have so many parts. You said what it is, and you're saying it a second time. What you're doing is you're really putting it in their head so they're not going to forget what you're saying. This is a way to help people to realize. It also, by putting in the transition, tells them, okay, I'm done with my introduction. Now I'm moving on to the first point. After you've talked about the first point, you want to bring in yet another transition. And it can be something really simple. So, I'd now like to talk about, or I'd like to now talk about, and then mention your second point. The so is always a signal, and it tells the brain, stop. So when you hear people say, so, there's always usually a pause after that. You know, the brain knows this is a signal that something is going to change. So, are there any questions? The so kind of stops the lesson from going on, and then the instructor asks, are there any questions? You're doing the same thing in your presentation. So I'd now like to talk about, and you have that. When we get to our third point, we need a new transition. And it can be something very simply. Lastly, I want to now take a moment to tell you why, etc. So these are internal. Transitions. They're moving from one point to the next. All right. That way it's clear when you ended your first part and when you're going to the second part, and it's not not a knee-jerk reaction. Just like you build transitions in your papers, you want to build transitions as well into your presentation. The last big thing that is actually very, very important is on the rubric. And the rubric talks about transitions, okay? It talks about an attention getter. It talks about your introduction. The last part that's important is to signal the conclusion. So I need to know when we've already talked about everything, right? Because your last bullet point could just go on and we don't know if that's the end. It's nothing, it's never good just to end a presentation and go, yeah. You know, it's very awkward for everybody. It's awkward for you. So you want to tell people, all right, I'm done. Now here's the conclusion. And so the signal for that could be anything like, this brings me to the end of my presentation. So I know now, okay, there's nothing else new going to be coming on. And what do you do at the end of your presentation? You do it like the same thing in a way in your paper. You're going to briefly sum up what you just talked about. Okay, so this brings me to the end of my presentation. So I really wanted to show you why year-round schools is not a good idea. And to do this, I outlined my 3 main reasons, which were 1, 2, and 3. You want to leave your presentation, you want to leave your audience so that they kind of remember what you said. And you've said it 3 times now. You named your reasons in the first part. You named your reasons in the body. And lastly, you named the reasons once again in your conclusion. All right, so they've heard those 3 main reasons each time. And if they're good reasons, then people will go, all right, maybe I will agree. And then the very final thing you have to do is really simple. And I'm going to have to move it to the top because thank the audience for listening. And ask, are there any questions? So that's the framework. That's the framework that you want to kind of build in. So all of you have like the stuff. You have the content on your outlines. What you're missing is the polish, okay? Because your outline is not the speech. Your outline is, this is what I'm going to cover, all right? So what you want to do is to polish now the presentation. You want to build in each of these different parts. You want to build in the introductory piece, with the preview statement. You want to build in your then transitions between each of the parts. And then you want to build in the signal for this. All of these are on the rubric. So if you're missing some of this, this could, you know, potentially lose a few points for the presentation. All right. Just try your best. Before recording it, actually practice it. You could do a fake recording, like you only get 15 minutes with Screencast-O-Matic, I don't know. Can I remove this now? Does everybody have this written down? If not, you can always go back and watch it and pause it. So that's. Stop the share. Okay, so I've kind of lost my train of thought now. Oh, Screencast-O-Matic. I don't know that in the 15 minutes, I don't know if that means 15 minutes total, or like if you practiced it 6 times by recording it and went over 15 minutes, if you delete it, I don't know if that counts. So just practice it first. If you run out of, obviously don't run over 7 minutes. And then you're fine. You can practice it at least once with the recording. If you don't like it, that's fine. But don't edit it. It's a non-stop presentation, just like I have in the video. Non-stop, you have to see your face on there. That's one of the stipulations, because this is replacing presenting live to the class. All right. At this point, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
I haven't tried to use the Screencast-O-Matic yet. When we're doing our recording,
yeah,
will we have control of the slides from PowerPoint? Will
Absolutely.
we be able to?
Yes.
Okay, so we don't have to time everything just right in PowerPoint. And
no, don't do, no, God no, don't do an automatic timer in PowerPoint. Do it manual.
Okay.
That would be the worst thing you can do. Let me show you. I kind of showed it in the I showed it in the video that I posted, but I can show it to you live here too, basically what you're gonna do. All right. So what you're actually going to see is, if you open up the PowerPoint like this, you don't want to go full screen. Okay, you want to keep the PowerPoint like this the whole time. So when you're going from slide to slide, you're going to have to click on the side here. Okay.
Okay.
So what will happen is, on Screencast-O-Matic, it'll automatically put like a box around this. You'll see the line. Anything that's in that dotted line is what's being recorded. So here's the cool thing for you guys, since, oh, you can't. Oh yeah, you can. So if you were to, and I gotta stop the, not that. So you could add your notes here at the bottom. Now, this is bad how I just did it, because, there you go, well, because I wrote on it. This actually, the notes is actually below the dotted line. It will not be in the film. All right. So you can put your, I don't want to say put your script, but you can put pretty much the notes in there. And then as you're presenting, like me, you can kind of look down now and then. Good morning, everybody. Have you ever thought about year-round school? And it's not going to look like, it's going to be like a teleprompter. Okay. So you don't have to memorize the whole thing. It can be kind of natural. Just put your notes in the notes section on each of your slides. And then when you want to change slides, you just go to the next one and move it along. The notes section will always be below the dotted line. Just make sure that, but it should. Screencast-O-Matic is smart enough to kind of get that. All right. At the end, for the publishing part, and I mentioned this any questions now about how to move? As long as you don't put it on, if you put it on present, if you did this, like you see the dotted line now, it's going to cut off. It'll be just like that on Screencast-O-Matic. It won't put the whole slide in there. So the only way to get the whole thing, the whole pictures of the slides in there, is to keep it at the outline stage like that. Okay. So yeah, please don't do any timers. You don't need any transitions because you're not going to have transitions. You're just going to click and go to your next thing. Okay. I was going to say something else now, and I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, the recording. When it comes time for publishing, you have the option. You can publish into YouTube directly, but this has not been an issue this year, but I've had people in the past tell me, oh, I'm really uncomfortable with, posting something of mine, my face out on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to post it on YouTube. So your option is YouTube if you want, if you feel strong about it. The other option is to get an MP4 file. Okay, that's just a video file, and that's good enough. If you upload the video file to D2L, I can still open it. Okay. So at this point, and you're all good because all of your papers are in, all of your outlines are in, not all, but almost everybody's outlines in, and the visuals in. So you are at the final stages, so you're good to move on. If you're watching this and you haven't been attending class, all papers should be in by now, right? The absolute deadline for everything is this Thursday, noon, all right? If you have other issues, you need to email me and let me know what those issues are. So I'm putting this out, you have to contact me and let me know. If you're turning in stuff late, I will get to it when I get to it. I have my grading pretty much caught up, but I'm not grading 24 hours a day now. So if it's not done before 4:30, it won't be done till the next morning because I'm having a real work day now where I can actually stop and resume the next day. So keep that in mind. If you turn stuff in, you're not going to get an immediate response. Just like you weren't immediate turning it in, I can't grade it immediately and give it back to you. Okay. If you haven't filled out a course evaluation, please do. They are quite useful. You've got the links, and probably every time you log into D2L, it will pester you until you actually do it. And they changed it for the instructors. They used to do that for us too, but now we don't have it. And that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else that I have to announce. So quiz, if you haven't done the quiz, take the quiz. Other than that, do check your email every day from here on out, because if there is a problem with something that you submitted, whether it's the presentation, if you're submitting stuff late, those of you who are watching, if you haven't turned in stuff, if you're submitting it late, please check the email every day, because if there's a problem with it, I will email you. If you do not check your email, you will not get it in time before the end of the semester. And when the semester is over, everything is over, okay? There's not, oh, gee, on Monday you can't, or Sunday you can't write me and go, oh, I just got your email. Too late, the semester's finished, okay? So you need to check your email every day. If you don't see anything from me, that's perfect. That means everything is worked, and then you'll see your grades. I should have everything graded for you by no later than Saturday. All I have is the presentations. They're 5 to 7 minutes long. I don't know how many I'm actually getting. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of you here. I know 3 others who are working outside or 4. So I might have 8 presentations altogether. That won't take long to grade, and I'll have those up for you. Just kind of do what I said in terms of like structuring it, have a halfway decent presentation, and you should get a very good grade on it. Okay. So I thank you guys for attending, because making a video where I'm just talking to myself would not really be as effective as trying to teach. And I know there are people that have watched the video and haven't attended. That's fine. You know, that was the option. You didn't have to attend live, but it made it easier for me to actually teach. When people actually had questions, I could answer the questions, and then everybody can benefit from it. So I thank you guys for your perseverance and sticking with me to the end. It's greatly appreciated, more than you can know. So are there any other further questions?
Will we be meeting this Thursday at 11?
There's no need to meet. Nope.
Okay.
I'll come in at 11, and I'll come in at 11 just in case there's some lingering questions, but there's no instruction. There's nothing for me to instruct. It's all done, and everything should be submitted, but I will come just in case someone has a burning issue. But I will stay on for probably 15 minutes at the most. If no one comes in by 11:15, then I assume that everything is good. No one needs me ever again, and I'll leave.
Okay, I'll contact you on Remind if anything comes up. I do appreciate your feedback with that. It's been extremely helpful over the semester.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. How about you quiet ones? Any questions? Maya does the thumbs up.
No, I'm all good.
All right, Taylor's good. Mason, you good?
Good. Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Thank you, guys. Course evaluation. Hope they're halfway decent. And yeah, good luck. That's, for some of you, it might be the last English course. If you're going into some professions, you do have to take another English course probably, which is 122. If you want a fun class to take, no papers, English 124, which is like speeches. So you do have to do speeches, but it's a fairly, it's not a difficult class, and it's kind of fun. So, all right. Well, thank you very much. If there are no questions, I would say have a great day.
All right, Dr. Cook, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Right. Bye, guys.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Mason. Bye, Maya.